Assalamu alaikum, this is Reema Khan. Today's question is, why are some places hit so hard and others are not? What is COVID-19 riddle? Let us ask Dr. Sayyid Tariq Shahab.
Thank you, Reema, for a very interesting question. Why are some countries hit so hard and others are spared by the coronavirus? This is what is called the COVID-19 riddle. For example, Iran, there were a lot of cases, several thousand deaths, but neighboring Iraq had only a few hundred deaths. Dominican Republic, which is a small country, had 7,000 deaths. Across the border in Haiti, there was only less than 100 who died. Similarly, Indonesia had more than thousands died, but neighboring Malaysia had only a few hundred deaths. Big cities like New York, Paris, London, they were devastated by coronavirus. But other big cities like Bangkok, Baghdad, Lagos, Delhi, Karachi, they were relatively spared. Last month, we were thinking that Russia and Turkey were doing fine. But all of a sudden this month, they had a lot of cases and a lot of people are dying because of the coronavirus infection. This is the puzzle that the scientific community is trying to find out. Scientific experts, infectious disease specialists, epidemiologists, they are looking into four factors. Number one is demographics. Number two is culture. Number three is environment. And number four is government measures like lockdown or no lockdown. Number one, demographic. One factor that has come up is the younger the population of a country, the less the chances that they will have more disease. For example, Africa, which has the youngest population, they have more than 60% of the population is less than 25 years of age. They are relatively spared. They had only 45,000 cases in a population of 1.3 billion. Similarly, Thailand and Iraq had younger population and they had less infection. But if you see Italy, which has very old population, more than 45 years, more than 50% of the population is more than 45 years of age, they had a lot of cases. And most of the patients that died were in their 70s or 80s. Ecuador, where the population is very young, 11% of the population is above 60, the rest of them are all young, but they had 7,000 deaths. So this factor doesn't explain why this is happening. The second factor is the culture. Countries where when they greet, they don't touch, they don't shake hands, like India, Thailand, they had relatively few cases. Similarly, South Korea and Japan, when they meet, they bow, they don't touch each other, they had few cases. But in Middle East and Iraq, where they embrace each other and they will shake hands, they still had low cases. So this also doesn't explain why some places have more and some places have less. Also, it has been seen that countries which have nursing home for senior citizens were badly hit compared to the countries that take care of their senior citizens at home. Other thing that has been seen is that countries which had TB vaccination mandatory as a childhood, like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, were relatively spared compared to the countries that do not have this TB vaccination. Also, it was seen that malaria, countries which had malaria as a childhood, they were relatively spared. And scientists think that maybe from the TB vaccination and from the malaria, they have got some protection that protects them against the coronavirus. The third factor is the hot and humid climate. Countries which have hot and humid climate are relatively spared, like Guyana, like Pakistan, and other countries. But countries like Italy, USA, UK, they had the winter going on, and it was moist also, and so they were hit very hard. But how do you explain then Brazil, Peru, Indonesia, which are all tropical countries and they were hit very hard? So this factor also cannot explain fully what is going on. The fourth factor is the government measures and lockdown. Countries which had early lockdown, like Thailand, Africa, Middle East, they were relatively had less cases compared to countries that have late lockdown, like Iran, USA, UK, they were hit very hard. Also, the countries that did early testing and contact tracing, like South Korea and Thailand, they saw less cases compared to countries that did not do early testing, like USA, UK, where there were a lot of cases. So these things cannot be explained fully. And the scientific community thinks that there's not one factor that you can say that this is the reason why some countries are hit hard and the others are not. It could be a combination of factors, or it could be a sheer luck or a roll of a dice. But the scientific experts say that it's too early to say about coronavirus. The disease is in its early stages. They compare it to Spanish flu, in 1918 that took 2 years. It finished in 1919. So coronavirus is also early in this stage, and the countries that are not hit hard yet may be still hit hard from this infection. That is why it is very important to continue these preventive measures. Thank you.